So Katie, I'm going to start, and I'll introduce myself real quick, and then if you could kind of introduce yourself. So I've been in the life insurance space for 38 years, and I was an iPipeline customer in the 1990s. And iPipeline today is also been my client since I started InsurTech Express back in 2019. But really, we're a central resource for life insurance technology with a network of over 250,000. So we market industry leaders and platforms like iPipeline for EAP, policy admin, underwriting engines, etc., to the industry. So, Katie, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Katie Kahl. I'm the Chief Product Officer at iPipeline. I am responsible for our platform strategy, and I lead our product management and UX team at iPipeline. I'm newer to iPipeline. I've been here for about a year, but prior to that, I was at another InsurTech that was more focused on the P&C side of the business. So not new to insurance, but a little bit newer to the L&A industry. And I have been in product management and strategy most of my career.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule for this interview. So the first category or topic, I'm going to talk about a little bit about market landscape and generation gaps. So question one is, what do you believe are the root causes behind the large coverage gap in life insurance across generations, especially among Gen Z and millennials?
Yeah, I think the main kind of two main issues. One, I think, is just the lack of knowledge or understanding around the amount and type of coverage that they need. So that the need to be able to educate that demographic and in a way that they're going to respond to that is one aspect. The other is then, I guess, the way that those products make their way to that generation as well. So kind of the need to shift to a more digital first dynamic experience, maybe in place of the traditional workflows, I think is the other thing where just that lack of access in the way that's needed is happening as well.
Great. And that's a great segue because I was going to ask you, how do you see the needs and buying behaviors of younger generations like Gen Z differing from older generation when it comes to life insurance?
Yeah, I think, when you think about the way that those generations interact with technology in other areas of their life, they're going to expect very similar experiences. And what I mean by that is, if you think about Amazon as an example, you're used to very quick, personalized recommendations where those systems have learned a lot about you. They're able to kind of match you with what you're looking for, and there's speed, in nearly every purchasing experience that these generations have. So I think they expect those really tailored, personal, digital-first experiences when they think about other purchases as well. At the same time, there's a lack of understanding of insurance. It's not, especially life insurance, is not something you buy frequently over your lifetime. And so in order for them to feel comfortable and like the choices are transparent, I think presenting them options in a way where they can make better decisions and feel comfortable. And again, still that very digital type experience is going to be what they expect.
Okay, well, staying on that digital topic, what specific digital tools or technologies do you see as game changers in reaching and educating the uninsured?
Yeah, I think two main areas of course, AI. That's everywhere, and that provides the ability, I think, to help with more of that personalized, tailored experience. So, instead of maybe the traditional approach to I'm going to gather information about the prospective insured and then present them with options, with AI, that can happen a lot more quickly, be able to analyze a really, really broad set of data and be able to make those recommendations. In addition, I think there's going to be a pretty dramatic shift in the way that underwriting technology works, because there's going to be too much pressure on kind of those real-time instant decisions. So again, having technology that can analyze and assess that risk more quickly and present those options back, those are the type of experiences and technologies that are going to be needed. And thirdly, none of that is really possible, though, without the right set of data to power those experiences. So I think, AI, the right platform to provide those workflows and data are really three critical elements.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you say for carriers and advisors, in the life space, AI product recommendations you mentioned, and underwriting automation. But let's talk about onboarding. So can you give an example how automation has improved customer onboarding or application experiences in life insurance?
Yeah, and by that, do you mean the individual applying for life insurance, or how?
Correct. Yeah, maybe onboarding is not the best word, but it is applying, right? I know there's pre-sales with needs analysis and quoting, and then applying for life insurance until a policy is issued. Sure.
Yeah, I think that, one thing is that we're really getting used to these very conversational type experiences when you're shopping or applying for something. So I think instead of the traditional, you're working your way down an application, I think you're going to find that the industry is going to shift to a more, I'm going to kind of gather information about you dynamically in a conversational fashion, and be able to type that in, and it's going to drive the rest of the workflow. The other is, again, with the introduction of agentic AI and co-pilots that can really sit alongside these systems, I think you'll find that they can be out there searching for a lot of data that already exists about that individual. So it's just going to reduce the amount of data that has to be gathered manually as well. So I think those are two areas that'll probably shift pretty dynamically as it relates to applying.
Great. So let's talk about digital first strategy. What does a digital first approach mean in practical terms for a life insurance carrier or distributor?
Yeah. So, I mean, one aspect is obviously just getting the paper, applications out of the industry. So we just talked about having that more conversational digital type approach as it relates to how do I gather information, and again, how do I leverage kind of the digital footprint that is already out there. I think the other is really the digital type experiences allow you for a more dynamic sales process. And by that, I mean, again, traditionally you're used to selecting a product, applying for that. And in these digital type experiences, you can be bringing information back as you gather more and more data and kind of understand what that individual needs. And then you can really present them with different real-time options, and change the product types again in a much faster, personalized way for that individual.
Excellent. Yeah. So I guess that, with all this automation and AI involved, you want to get that human feel to it, right? That personalization is what I'm hearing is important for that journey for the customer, right? For the consumer. Well, let's kind of pivot a little bit to advisor enablement and customer education. What role should advisors or agents play in the increasingly digital world, and how can technology empower rather than replace them? Now, I know that we say insurance is sold and not bought, so I don't think agents are going to be replaced, but maybe it's going to look differently. I don't know. So if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, kind of going back to something we touched on earlier, which just is around if you think about the experiences when an individual is purchasing life insurance, there's typically some sort of life event that's happening, a new house or a baby or a marriage. And so I think because of that, there's an emotional part of the experience that you wouldn't want to fully, that's one reason you don't want to fully remove the human, because it's a pivotal time in someone's life that they expect a more personalized human experience. So I think that's one aspect of, there's always going to be a role. Now, what that role looks like, I think may evolve. And one, you may find that, hey, where there's repetitive tasks that can be automated by AI, those are the types of things that allow for efficiency and automation and speed in the process. It doesn't change the fact that you are relying on that advisor as a trusted partner in making the decision. So I think a lot can be done to gather information, present options, but then you again have that expert there to help you make a decision, and even help make the right recommendation for you. So I think again, a lot of automation can happen and still have that trusted advisor there. And then I think a lot of the other experiences just around how you deliver that policy, how you present that information. Again, we don't need someone to manually put together complex proposals and policy documents. Again, that's a lot of where AI can come in to just automate some of those more repetitive tasks.
Yeah, no, that's great. And kind of on the customer education part and AI, how can AI platforms educate customers on topics like coverage needs, and different policy types and pricing, and of course myths, I guess, some things that may not be accurate, and the stigma of life insurance. So.
Yeah, I think one way AI can play a role in the education part is being able to learn a little bit more and quicker what that person cares about. So when you do present options back, again, you're tailoring those recommendations to what they care about. Also, there's a ton of different variables when it comes to these products. So being able to present those back in a way where it's easy to see those side by side comparisons and really simplify that. Again, I think that's another role AI can play. And then what I think might be interesting is that, individuals all learn and consume information through different media types. So today, most of that is done via comparing maybe two documents together. But in the future, we might find maybe there's a more visual approach to be able to present those options back, or even short videos that can be created on demand. And that way you can really just meet the types of media that those consumers care about, or that they're going to respond to the best.
Great. Well, let's kind of now pivot to some operational foundations and long-term value. What operational foundations are most critical for carriers to establish now to ensure future scalability and customer engagement?
Mm-hmm. I think, I probably narrow that down to four big areas. The first is that, they've got to have their data and that quality of data in a format, the right governance around that, so that it's usable, because all of, AI is going to rely heavily on data quality and data access. The second is that, because again, you're really trying to drive more towards these digital real-time experiences, you can't have a lot of disparate systems that aren't well connected. So you're going to need a good integration between systems, good interoperability between the different systems that power all of the workflows that they need. And then kind of the last two are related more towards probably like the change management around, one, their own workforce. So how do they help their own teams shift to these different types of experiences, educate them on new technology, a new way of selling insurance, and then, equally how do they think about their customer experiences and that end customer experience and the sort of workflow that they want to deliver as it relates to distribution workflows as well.
Yeah, so if I'm hearing you right, so on the digital, transformation, how does that kind of contribute to the long-term brand loyalty in an industry traditionally built on personal relationships? So how do we go from that one-on-one contact to that digital?
Mm-hmm. And I still think that's going to happen in terms of having that, personalized human touch. I think what can change is the ability to maybe assess what's the right time to make those more personalized moments that are needed. So being able to assess a customer that might be at risk or have a retention risk, that's the time to spend an opportunity with them in person. But doing that analysis again can happen behind the scenes. Being able to see when there's moments when you should be reaching out. Again, just a lot of that analysis can really happen without someone
Right.
to get as manually involved. But I still think you need to work in those experiences.
Well, looking forward, where do you see the biggest growth opportunities in life insurance over the next 3 to 5 years?
I think one is the way that how new products come to market, or even how they are created, and by that I mean insurance products. The process in which those get to market, I think, will change with AI. One, just the ability to analyze what the market needs and to be able to adapt to those market needs more quickly can be enabled by data and AI. Second, we talked a lot about the carrier workflows as it relates to underwriting. I think those are going to dynamically shift to better support real-time, instant decisions, more business, being able to go straight through processing. And then also, again, how those products are distributed in a way where there's the ability to make better recommendations, match the right products with the right individual, or have a set of products and be able to go find the right demographics that are a good fit for that, and kind of the marketing and targeting around that. I think those are all three big areas that will pretty dynamically shift.
Awesome. Well, I got one last question. So, what is iPipeline? Oh, sorry. How is iPipeline evolving its product roadmap to meet the changing expectations of consumers and distributors?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're really following along with those three big trends that I mentioned. Prior to that, one thing that we have done is making sure we had the right, internal data quality, big investment in that data infrastructure to be able to power the types of workflows that we want to deliver. So that was a big step. The second is really having a platform that can enable those, so that is built on data and AI that can power the right, really connected, dynamic experiences that then can meet the needs that we talked about as it relates to being able to get new products to market. That is a huge area that we're investing in, because we know the industry is going to need to adapt to those market changes. So driving speed through that process using AI to bring those new products to market, and then are making a heavy investment too around how we can connect to those future underwriting workflows and experiences, and be able to bring that information back in front of the agents or distribution network that needs it in the right moment. And then how we present those really personalized recommendations back to the insured and empower those agents to be able to do that are big areas that we're investing in this year and into next.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Katie. This has been great information. I think the industry is going to really take value on your experience, knowledge that you shared today. So we appreciate you taking the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. Great questions. And it was, I always have fun talking through those. So appreciate it.